Well, hello there, folks out in interwebs land. Welcome to Miyagi Mornings Episode-96, which means we will end this week with kind of a landmark episode, episode 100 episodes of Miyagi Mornings. And on that note, it's a good time for a pause. Don't worry, Miyagi Mornings isn't going away. As previously announced, the recap podcast is actually going to become one of my weekly podcasts and give me a little more time in my life to do things that I want to do and have a little bit better lifestyle design for myself. It'll also give me more time to work on things on property and actually have more stuff to teach and talk about. Anyway, but I am going to take a pause. Next week, I am going away. Yep, I'm going to go to Florida and I'm going to fish and hang out with my wife. And for a part of the time, I'm going to hang out with my son, my grandchildren, and my daughter-in-law. I'm going to be on the beach. I ain't going to do jack diddly shit, okay? Just to be blunt. And that means next week, I am going to have to be doing a lot of work pre-Exodus to put up rewind shows and extra shows and stuff so that you guys have podcasts every day that I'm gone. And something's got to give, and it's going to be Miyagi Mornings. So Miyagi Mornings is going to go away for about 2 weeks, something like that. And then we will be back and resume at episode 101. So what are we going to talk about today? Bullshit excuses. That's what we're going to talk about today, in specific to kind of the prepper alternative spaces, right? Like, I've been doing this now. It amazes me. People, they bring things to you like, look, I just found out about it. Like, we've been dealing with and hearing these things forever. And I've been dealing with excuse making for as long as I've been doing this. Here's some actual excuses that I've heard people make in regards to the things that we recommend people do and the way that we recommend people build resiliency into their life and non-brittlness into their life. I'm not going to have a garden because when the shit hits the fan, whoever the hell they are, will steal my tomatoes. And various versions thereof. Basically, it's not worth having a garden, man, because, it's just going to hit the fan and somebody's just going to steal it. All right, you're only planning for failure and a specific type of failure, so you broke rule number 1 of survivalism. You lose. All right, so we can keep going. I'm not going to get into cryptocurrency because they're going to shut down the internet. You know what, friends and neighbors, if they shut down the internet, you have a bigger effing problem than you do with your Bitcoin or your Pirate Chain or your Monero or whatever currency that you're holding. They also don't do things that hurt them, and they're not going to shut the internet down. I've also heard, I'm not going to build a particular thing because that's electronic. You know what's going to happen? There's going to be an EMP one day. You just watch, and it's going to shut that thing down. That thing you just built, I've had just recently, that thing you just built, will it survive an EMP or will it survive a CME? I don't give a shit. I'm going to sit around on my, you know what? I'm not going to sit around worrying about black swans and whatever thing that you can come up with, like Stephen King, that was under your bed when you were a kid, to be afraid of. And I'll get to why people do this in just a second. Here's another one. I'm not going to invest in stocks or have a 401k or an IRA or anything like that because the market's just going to go broke. Okay, fine. I mean, I don't think all of your investing should go into stocks, right? But come on. We have a functioning economy, and if you know what you're doing, that should be one piece of your investment strategy, especially, publicly invested money that they can see, and using tax-deferred accounts and things like that, or tax-exempt accounts, etc. Man, come on. You just ignoring that is pathetic. How about this? I'm not going to start a business because whoever they are, won't let me. The hell are you talking about? People start businesses every day. Or, well, they're just going to tax my business, so why would I start a business? Dude, you start a business so you can pay less taxes. What these all are is a combination of ignorance and what I call I don't want to, so black swan theory. A black swan is like this thing that can't be foreseen, that comes out of nowhere and destroys a thing that otherwise seemed to be good, right? So what people do is they invent these black swans. Most of their black swans that are akin to like an autistic crow. I mean, yeah, not or like a duck with mud on it or something, man. Like it's just anything they can reach out and grab is an excuse not to do things. Here's another example. Like, you tell people about cryptocurrency and they're like, well, I just believe in silver and gold, man. How much silver and gold do you have? And it ends up they don't have any of that either. So they're creating a replacement. Well, what's much better is to invest in silver. Do you have any silver? They have like $5 in silver. Or, no, man, land is the thing. Do you own any land? They don't. I don't have any money. They're dead ass broke. And instead of saying, I don't have any money to invest in cryptocurrency and it's risky, and since I have very little money, I don't want to invest in it, and being honest, they come up with some bullshit misdirected excuse. Peter Schiff said, Peter Schiff doesn't know Schiff, all right, about cryptocurrency. So don't listen to him about cryptocurrency. You want to listen to somebody about gold and silver, listen to somebody that knows gold and silver, and Peter Schiff does. But that's where you stop taking advice. This is what you have to do with all experts. When they reach a place that they don't know about, stop listening to them and start thinking for your damn self. You know, here's another perfect example. And see, people are going to get all butthurt here because I'm not going to say everything wonderful about the guy. But I love the guy personally, and that's Dave Ramsey. If you want advice on how to get rid of debt, you listen to Dave Ramsey. If you want advice on the way that you can use leveraged debt within real estate to make yourself wealthy, do not listen to Dave Ramsey. He doesn't know the square root of F all what he's talking about. If you want to actually diversify your investments, don't listen to Dave Ramsey because I'm sorry, having 100% of your money denominated in dollars in the stock market through mutual funds does not make diversity. That is not diversified. That's a single vehicle of investment. Right? Denominated dollar equities. That is not diversity. I don't care if some's small cap, some's mid cap, some's blue chip, some's dividends. It's not diversity. It's a single entity. Now you have diversity within your niche, fine. But that should not be where everything is. And you don't listen to people that tell you things like that. Don't listen to the guy when he tells you something like, well, you shouldn't refinance debt to a lower interest rate. I'm sorry, are you stupid? I'm sorry, Dave, are you stupid? Of course you do. Of course you do. Now, what he's saying is, it's more important that you pay the debt down than get a lower interest rate. I agree. I also don't hate money. But see, everybody wants to come up with some reason, and this is where I'm coming from with this, to justify their position. So let's go back to something a little more simple. I don't want a garden because the people will steal my tomatoes when the shit hits the fan. What that person's really saying is, you know what, I don't want to do the work of digging up the ground and running a garden. I don't think it's worth it. But they can't say that. They want to come up with some nonsensical excuse to defend the indefensible, right? Because it is a completely legitimate thing, in my opinion, for you to say, I ain't got no time for gardening. I don't have time, and I don't want to. Okay. Especially if I go to your house, and your house is nothing but a little mowed piece of grass, right? If you have a whole bunch of bushes and shrubs and trees that don't produce anything, it's not. It's not legitimate because those could be berry bushes, those could be fruit trees, they could be fruit-producing vines, they could be herbs. Like, if you have any kind of landscaping at all, it could be edible. It doesn't necessarily have to be a garden, right? So then it becomes an excuse. But a person that's just, I don't want to, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, fine. But people have this need to defend things, and this is where it goes really south. Once they entrench themselves, they refuse to take in new information. We basically create the idiocracy that the movie was about. That's how we really get there, is people tunneling themselves down, doubling down on top of doubling down on top of doubling down on a position to the point where nothing will convince them otherwise. Like whatever version of God they had could descend from the heavens and say, my son or my daughter, I'm sorry, but you are incorrect. You need to evaluate this differently because it's important for your life. I'm telling it to you. And they'd be like, nah. God's fake. But that was your God that you believed in. No, they're going to take my tomatoes. This is basically another version of the toolbox fallacy. Instead of, I need this thing before I can do this thing, it's, I don't want to do this thing, so here's my thing that prevents me from doing it. When they're never going to do it anyway. The people that say, like, I'm not going to start a business because they won't let me. I always ask them, what business do you want to start? Either they don't know or whatever they say. I'm like, you can do that. Do that shit right now. Or they're going to tax me and like, what do I teach you guys? 95% of the tax code is how not to do what the other 5% says. And the way you get that done, mostly, not all, but mostly is through business ownership. A business owner is going to pay less taxes per dollar that goes through their hands to provide from them than an employee, period. End of story. All the time, every time, unless they are smart enough to run a business but too stupid to understand what a good CPA is. Right? These are all things that we use to make excuses for our laziness, our unwillingness to educate ourselves, right? And for missing opportunities. That's another big one. So there's people now that no matter what you tell them about cryptocurrency, the real reason they're going to come up with some bullshit as to why they don't want to get involved is what? Because they were told about it 10 years ago, didn't do it, have done the math, and realized how much that obstinance has cost them, and therefore they must justify it. Otherwise, hey, I actually made a mistake. And people don't like making mistakes. People don't like admitting mistakes. How do you cure this? You assume that anything you think you know may be wrong. And then you seek to either confirm it or disprove it for yourself, instead of using it as a shield. Because that's what people are doing. It's basically an ignorance shield. Like, I don't want to know, blah, 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 blah. Put their fingers in their ears and make freaking childish noises is what they're doing. You know, they'll just shut off the internet. Do you even understand what that means? Do you even understand how that works? They'll make the internet illegal. That's another one I've heard. Are you smoking crack? Really? Just say you don't want to do it. Just say I don't have time to learn about it. Just say I don't want to. Don't make up bullshit. You know the problem with making up bullshit like that? The real problem, friends and neighbors? You know what it is, don't you? Some of you just already snapped right to what he's going to say, right? Yeah. You start to believe your own bullshit. With that, I'll wrap up today. Don't believe your own bullshit. Always accept that you could be wrong about a thing. I know that a lot of times when I talk to you guys, you think, well, he doesn't mean that because he doesn't. Yes, I do. Just because I speak with confidence and convictions about the things that I've learned about doesn't mean I always don't stay open to the option that maybe I got this one wrong. But what it takes is logic, facts, and reasons, not bullshit black swans that you pull out of your ass. Take care, guys. I'll catch you tomorrow.